Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update from the front coming from the Ukrainian side, and it seems like they blow up systems, air defense systems, Russian air defense systems like there's nothing. Well, do you believe that? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of losses and a lot of destruction, but anyway, let's see. Ukrainska Pravda. This article is coming from November 9th, 2022. Ukraine's armed forces strike Russian air defense systems and destroy 2 ammunition storage points in Ukraine's south. While defending the southern line of contact, the Ukrainian military have performed 11 strikes from the sky on Russia's air defense positions. Ukrainian forces have carried out 290 firing missions, destroying Russians' ammunition storage points and equipment and killing Russian soldiers. And I'm quoting, this comes from Operational Command South. The Russians were continuously shelling the settlements adjacent to the demarcation line, in particular those liberated in Berislav district of Kherson Oblast, as well as the rear settlements from Dnipropetrovsk to Odessa Oblast. It says that enemy Sukhoi 30 aircraft arriving from the direction of the Black Sea launched a Kh-31 anti-ship missile at the coast of Odessa Oblast. Ukraine's air defense forces destroyed the missile over the sea. Isn't that something? The Russians hit Chernohorivka and Martenets Hromadas in Nikopol district with multiple launch rocket systems and heavy artillery during the afternoon of 8th of November. Several outbuildings were damaged. There are no casualties. Because there's no more Ukrainians to kill, or why? Russian forces attacked Ukrainian military positions with army aircraft 4 times. In response to Russians received 11 strikes on their air defense systems and clusters of manpower and equipment. Ukraine's rocket forces and artillery completed 290 firing missions. Confirmed Russian losses in these operations are as follows: 55 military personnel, 4 tanks, a Tor M2 short-range surface-to-air missile system, an Akatsiya self-propelled howitzer, 2 mortars, 9 armored vehicles. Also, 2 Russian ammunition storage points near the town of Shihurivka and the village of Kostromka were destroyed. The remaining Russian losses are being ascertained. And I'm quoting, the occupiers continue to loot and destroy civilian infrastructure in settlements from which locals have been evacuated. Oh, that's why they just evacuated them, and this guy just blow up stuff with no reason whatsoever. The Russians are testing the carrying capacity of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant dam by moving trucks carrying looted property, household appliances and construction materials across it. There are also, they say it like the Ukrainians were somehow, so rich and wealthy and they had everything. I think the Russians per capita, and not only, were doing better than the Ukrainians, or at least people that used to live in Ukraine. So yeah, it doesn't mean they can't loot stuff, but it seems like, it's, Romanians getting into Switzerland and say, there's no Swiss people here, get whatever you want. I would bet there will be trucks coming to Romania or trains full of loot. Yeah, but we're talking about Switzerland and Romania. Okay, here we talk about, let's say you got, hey, Swiss people, come and get, there's no more Romanians in Romania, come and loot. They were like, ooh. So, I'm exaggerating, so you get my point. The Russians are looting. I'm not saying all Russians are rich or anything like that, but, it's kind of funny to say that they are over there looting from whom. Anyway, I don't want to look down on Ukrainians, but let's just look at the per capita and look at the conditions. It's not like the poor guys are, Anyway, the Russians are testing the carrying capacity. Yeah, there's so much loot. They are also appropriating artworks and historical artifacts. Operational Command Pivden reports. Yeah, and do they take children and people in slavery too? Somewhere in I don't know, in Ural Mountains, they make some camps over there. Go straight to Siberia, some gulags. Russian occupiers are confirmed to have blown up power lines and equipment at a solar power plant near the city of Berislav. Man, these guys are criminals. Let's help the Ukrainians. I got the message. Let's go. See you later. I'm gonna go right now. In addition to creating unbearable living conditions for the local population, I don't doubt that, Russian occupiers are intensifying police terror by hunting down activists from the resistance forces. They are also trying to disrupt local people's access to information and dismantling mobile phones, tweets, Jesus Christ, towers. Meanwhile, the Russian flotilla, now this is important, you think, right? In the waters of the Black Sea consists of 8 vessels. They are sheltering along the southern coast of Crimea. Cruise missile carriers are stationed at their base points, with none being recorded on combat duty. They're too afraid, I guess, by the Ukrainians' Neptune missiles that blow up Moskva. Well, I don't deny, or I don't how should I put it, doubt the fact that people loot and get involved in this kind of activities, and that's why this war should be stopped. Do you think that by pushing those guys towards Moscow is gonna do what? Just push the guys in a corner, and then it's gonna come something even worse, I think. This unwillingness to open conversations, at least meet and talk about certain things. You might disagree, let's say, at most issues, but you might find some starters. And even if you don't find the starters, meet again in a few months or a few weeks or a few days. Reassess the situation. Maybe you're willing to give something here, but you want to get something here, and so on. But not talking at all, that tells me these guys just want to continue and do what they're doing. I'm talking about the kosher leadership in Kiev, which is not in Kiev. The Russians said those guys are not in Kiev. They just show up in Kiev. Like there were some books that I read about Churchill, about withstanding the bombardments of V1 and V2 in London. But actually he was not staying in London. He was taken by car outside of London. I can't remember exactly the town. And then he was coming and showing himself over there, and then driven back to wherever he was residing. But it doesn't take anything, from that guy. I'm just saying that the same with Zelensky. You keep him in Kiev. Maybe he's in Kiev for a few minutes and then gets lost. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.